Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm an engineer on the Hearthstone team.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm one of the designers on the Hearthstone team.
Okay, so this is the third and final Hearthstone expansion for the Year of the Dragon, and that's going to mark the end of the League of Evil storyline. So where are we in the story right now?
So we started off the year-long narrative with the League of Evil, and we saw how Rafam brought together all of these evil villains and brought them together to create a dastardly plan of stealing Dalaran. And they succeeded. And we move into the next expansion, which is Saviors of Uldum, where we see the League of Explorers rise up in power again and defeat the Plague Lords. And we finally reach the final culmination of the battle between the League of Evil, League of Explorers, see good versus evil, and we're here in Descent of Dragons. So in this expansion, we see the two sides fighting in the air battle. We see a lot of dragons in this expansion. We have a whole bunch of new mechanics, including Galakron. We're going to see how Rafam exactly resurrects Galakron with the inclusion of a new hero card, which is Galakron himself. So as we mentioned early in opening ceremony, we're going to be Galakron is a hero card that is available to the 5 evil classes, and we'll be giving those for free. And Galakron is an upgradable hero card. So what that means is we included a new keyword, invoke. So in this expansion, invoke means invoke is used to power up Galakron, whether he's in your deck or in your hand. To do that, you play cards with the invoke keyword mechanic, and you get something in return from Galakron for being in his service. So for example, if we take the rogue Galakron the Nightmare as an example, every time you play a card with the keyword invoke, then you get a lackey. A lackey appears in your hand. And so this is also Galakron's hero power. So as you invoked Galakron, he continues to evolve, and we can see this based on his battle cry. So when you play Galakron the Nightmare, the first phase, Galakron the Nightmare has the battle cry, draw 1 card, it costs 0, which isn't the most powerful he could be. So if you invoke twice and upgraded him up to Galakron the Apocalypse, then he doubles in power. He allows you to draw 2 cards, they both cost 0. But what if you upgrade him again? 2 more invokes, and he doubles in power again, you draw 4 cards, they all cost 0, and he also equips a 5/2 claw, so he becomes this like ginormous dragon, which we were trying to express in this set, and so we're really excited to show you him and all of his mechanics and how this all goes down.
This is all really cool for the 5 evil classes, but what can the other 4 classes look forward to in this expansion?
So the League of Explorers have tools of their own to fight against the dragons, of course. So a mechanic that we're sort of bringing back for this expansion are side quests. So we've seen quests, legendary quests, in previous expansions, and those were objectives that you could complete for reward. Similarly, side quests, you also complete smaller objectives for a reward, but unlike legendary quests of previous expansions, they are not legendary, so they do not start in your hand, but you could have 2 copies of them in your deck. So this allows you to have more build-arounds, more different kinds of decks you can play in Hearthstone, instead of building one deck around the single card, and you can just have this be part of your synergies instead of building all around it.
Does that mean you can also pull side quests from like a random effect, like something like the mage's post-quest hero power, for example?
Yeah, you can do that.
So how has the team worked to reimagine the various dragons we're all familiar with? Like, what's the process in creating like a second incarnation of a dragon like Ysera or Malygos, or in Deathwing's case, a third incarnation?
Sure, we go back to the core. What is the fantasy of this creature? This is the aspect of magic. We take a look at Malygos. It's a super powerful wizard dragon. And so originally I gave you spell power +5. It's pretty cool. Now we did a different take on it that still hits the core, I am the most powerful magic user ever, of if you're holding a dragon, I get an upgraded mage spell. And those are very powerful. It's a 3-mana, draw 4 cards. That's pretty nuts. There's other ones that are crazy too. 0-mana Frost Nova, 1-mana Polymorph. These are pretty good cards. And so you look at something like Deathwing. What's important about Deathwing? Well, mostly it's that he's crazy and very aggressive. And so you play him and he attacks all the other minions. Look at something like Ysera. Ysera's important because she really cares about other creatures, and in this case about having lots and lots of dragons. So she's going to open portals to the Emerald Dream, let you bring dragons through them. So she shuffles portals into your deck that summon dragons when you draw them. So really it's that go back to the core fantasy of what this dragon is about, and then find a cool take on that makes sense in the set.
You've been conspicuously quiet about single player for Descent of Dragons. Like normally you guys come out and say, oh, hey, we were planning a single player, we're going to reveal more about it later. But you didn't say anything this time. So should players expect one more solo adventure to round out this storyline?
Yeah, exactly that thing you just said. That's what we're going to say. We have an awesome single player planned. It's going to be a linear storytelling experience. So more like Blackrock Mountain or League of Explorers or Karazhan, where we can really tell the conclusion for the story that we've been telling all year. But yeah, we'll talk about it more when it gets closer.
And I guess lastly, in regards to the expansion, we're nearing the end of another standard cycle. So has the teams already started looking into potential Hall of Fame candidates for the Classic set? Or maybe to put more fun spin on the question, has the team floated around any ideas of taking a wild card and bringing it to Classic?
It's not insane. We just brought a whole bunch of wild cards into Standard, and it's been pretty cool. The events that we've been doing this year, where we buffed a bunch of mechs, where we brought wild cards into Standard, they've been very successful. The community's really enjoyed them. It's shaken up the metagame. It does really good things. And also when Descent of Dragons comes out and those wild cards go back to Wild, it'll also shake up the metagame, which is very nice, in addition to Descent of Dragons shaking up the metagame. As to whether we've thought specifically about what we should Hall of Fame or what kind of changes we should make to Basic and Classic, let's wait 4 months until we're closer to the next expansion before we really go into details on any of that.
And now I want to move on into Battlegrounds. So how long has the team been working on this new game mode?
We started working on the new game mode several months ago. I'm not sure exactly what the date was, but we've been working on it for several months, and I think it's really awesome. Battlegrounds is a ton of fun. It's one of the things that's been dominating our lunches. People on the team have been playing a ton of Battlegrounds because it's a really cool new introduction to Hearthstone.
Now, it's not really a secret that this was inspired by like auto chess games that are currently out on the market, but in what ways did the team work to ensure that Battlegrounds is a uniquely Hearthstone experience?
That was really important to us. When we started working on Battlegrounds, there weren't a lot of these other auto battlers out there. It was just auto chess, and people had really enjoyed that, but we wanted to make sure that it felt like a core Hearthstone experience. And so that meant we want to use Hearthstone cards. We want them to feel like Hearthstone cards. They've got battle cries and death rattles, and you can see the minions attack and health. And so if you're a Hearthstone player, it's very, very easy to get into Battlegrounds, which is really, really nice. I'm not really the best person to speak on Battleground stuff, but there's a group interview later in the afternoon that you could speak to Mike Donay, who is one of the leads for Battlegrounds, and so he could give you a lot more information on it.
You know, I've noticed that there have been some minions which didn't see a lot of play in Ranked that are proving to be exceptionally powerful in Battlegrounds. Like the types of minions that you would never have thought to play in Ranked. So are there any minions that have surprised you in how good they are in this mode?
You'd have to ask Mike for a lot more details on that, but I'll call that Junkbot.
Oh,
Junkbot's good. He does some work.
And is the door open to more heroes and more Battleground exclusive minions in the future?
Absolutely. Especially if it takes off and it's a lot of fun, so I'm hoping it does, then that's the kind of thing we might invest more resources into and be able to develop more content down the line.
So you mentioned that it's dominating your lunches, so is there a specific hero that either of you prefer?
That's probably a better question to talk to Mike in the Battlegrounds panel. We're sort of more qualified and we focus more on Descent of Dragons. December 10th, and we're excited to have everybody pre-purchase it now, and you'll be able to play when it comes out in December.
Are there any pre-order incentives this time around?
Yeah, there's an awesome new alternate hero, Deathwing, for Warrior. And also, as Battlegrounds launches, there are some perks in Battlegrounds related to having Descent of Dragons packs. And so if you've pre-ordered, you'll have those before anyone else. Things like visual emotes and some advanced stats.